We are discussing cognitively stimulating activities and whether they prevent dementia. My charge was actually to engage in a debate arguing that these activities do not prevent dementia. And so I presented evidence that they don't prevent dementia. I guess it depends on how you want to define it. The way I was approaching the question was brain training specifically, sort of online brain training, and then more generally leisure activities like doing crossword puzzles and playing Sudoku and those things. There's no evidence that engaging in these activities actually changes your function or prevents dementia. So I can train you up and get you to perform on a specific task better, but that's not going to result in you being able to find your car at the mall or remember your grocery list better. The main argument that my opponent pitched was that engaging in lifelong educational, like education attainment and high occupational attainment, would promote cognitive reserve and therefore delay the onset of dementia. And I don't disagree with that lifelong education and engagement in cognitive and socially stimulating activities is important. But in terms of the patient that you have in front of you in your office, they're not coming to you when they're 4, saying, what can I do to prevent dementia? And that's when we need to intervene. They're coming to you when they're 50, 60, 70, 80. And so then the question is, what can they do now? And while of course I say, stay cognitively active, I really can't tell them that they should go buy a subscription to Lumosity and that that's going to change their outcome. Well, I think even in the absence of randomized controlled trials, none of us would say that you need a randomized controlled trial to promote good, healthy lifestyles. And so I would still recommend to people that they stay cognitively active, stay physically active, stay socially active, and limit your time in the 2D world. So instead of watching TV and playing brain-computer games, be in the 3D world. Go out with your grandkids, build Lego, forts, and do things, play cards with your friends. I always say people should get twofers. So if you can combine a cognitive activity with a social activity, so playing bridge, for example, might be better, more cognitively stimulating than doing a crossword puzzle by yourself. Same thing for physical activity. If you can go join a physical activity group, so you're walking and talking, then that's probably better than just walking alone. It's tricky because all of the data that we have is really based on observational studies. And what it shows is that if you ask someone today, what are you engaging in? And they say, oh, I play bridge and I go to the Bible study and I do a book club. And you look and say, well, what's their risk for dementia 4 or 5 years down the road? It's going to be lower. This group of people are less likely to have dementia than the group that says they don't do anything. But the problem is that it might be a chicken and the egg phenomenon. We know that dementia pathology starts decades before the diagnosis is made, and even cognitive impairment subtly is going on for at least 10 years before the diagnosis is made. So it's highly possible and probable even that those people that you're asking 5 years prior to their onset are already starting to give up activities that are on the causal pathway to dementia. So I can't really say that these activities are preventing dementia, but I'm certainly going to tell people to continue to do them. I think it's important for anyone who's treating patients that are, concerned about their memory, because whether you're a primary care doctor, a geriatrician, a behavioral neurologist, or general neurologist, you're going to get questions asking what you can do to stay cognitively active, to stay cognitively healthy and prevent dementia. It's the #1 fear of older adults. We need randomized controlled trials. They're expensive and they need the appropriate outcomes. So we not only need randomized trials of these kinds of cognitively stimulating activities, but we have to have the right outcome. We have to have a dementia or MCI outcome. It can't just be improvement on a cognitive test.